Hello everybody. It is me, Lisa Concepcion here, Lisa the Love Coach. And today I have such a great topic for you. It is all about the 5 ways people lose themselves in relationships. We've all been there. I'm sure we've all been there, but the question is, did we learn from this, or are we repeating the same patterns over and over again? So I wanted to jump on today because this is something that is super common every day through my website, lovequestcoaching.com. I get different people from all over the world submitting their love life assessment. It's a free assessment over at lovequestcoaching.com. So people go there, they fill it out, and then it comes to my inbox. So I get a bunch of these things every day, and I go through them. And one of the things that comes up often is this notion of losing oneself in a relationship. And it's super common. We've all been there. But again, do you learn, or do you continue to do the same thing, thinking that it's the other person and that it's up to the other person to treat you a certain way? We teach people how to treat us. And we do this constantly. Every interaction we have with every person in our life is a lesson in how we are to be treated. That is 100% our responsibility. We teach people how to treat us. And when we don't do that, we allow people to, basically stomp all over us and take on whatever it is that they want from us. So we have to be very, very mindful that we are to teach people how we are to be treated. So I am going to jump into the 5 ways that people typically lose themselves in relationships. And I am hopeful this info helps you out, serves you well. And if this is ringing true for you and you feel like it's resonating and it's something that you want to handle, by all means, hit me up on a DM and we will go from there. So the first way that people lose themselves in relationships is that they rush it. They rush the relationship from the beginning. They don't allow that 90-day period to just kind of get to know what this other person is about, and the time to see actions and the words if they match up. Because as I always say, when the words don't match the actions, the words are bullshit. So that first initial 90-day period is a great time to pace the relationship, to get to know each other, to get to know the big important values and matters that really count for one another. And if they're aligned, if they both are on the same level. So rushing it also includes having sex too soon. There are a lot of women out there who are just giving it up way too soon. They don't have a sense of pacing for themselves. They don't know how to pace a relationship. They have no idea how to go about themselves in a way that keeps a man wanting more. In the sense of men with women, they also rush the sex too soon. They allow anybody to come into their home and they end up having sex with them, and then they feel this obligation or this instant relationship kind of thing going on without enough time to really truly know if this is a woman, if this is a person that they really want to be with. So allow enough time to get those key questions answered before you start involving yourself physically with somebody, before you start really taking things to that level. The other thing that people do is they move in too soon, and that's also a form of rushing it. You end up losing yourself when you aren't ready, you don't know each other well enough, and you just move in because some other shit is going on in your life that would make it super convenient for you to move in together. Like, that is a disaster, and I've seen it happen with so many people who reach out to me and try to get coaching from me. They're like disasters. They're sitting there like, yeah, well, I dated this guy, and then like within the first 2 months we were already moving in together. Like, who does that? What is that even about? So there's something deeper going on if people are making these kind of fast, rushed decisions when it comes to relationships, and that's the opportunity to figure that out. Another reason of rushing, another way of rushing it, is merging finances. You're not even really in a full-on committed relationship, and you're like lending money and borrowing money. Like, what is going on with all of that? Again, anything that is rushed, anything that is a behavior that isn't really aligned with true full commitment is a massive red flag. It shows that you're possibly going to lose yourself in this relationship. Once you start involving money into the mix, it's very easy to lose yourself in the relationship, because now you're connected to them through money. Now you're holding out on this relationship because they now owe you money. So be really, really careful about rushing things in that way. Second thing that people do when they are potentially going to lose themselves in a relationship is that they get attached. They get attached, emotionally attached. They get very invested in this other person. Perhaps this other person has a shitstorm going on in their life, and they swoop in thinking they can fix them or help them, or, you know, be the person that's going to show them the light. So that is definitely a way to lose yourself in someone else. It's a form of codependency. When you find yourself stepping in to fix somebody, stepping in to rescue somebody, that is full-on codependency. It's basically coming in as the savior. Meanwhile, it's at your own expense. It's without you looking at what it is that you need for you, and you're too busy rushing in to help somebody else, and then you start to identify with their pain. It's called trauma bonding. It's a massive problem. I see it all the time in my coaching practice, and people do this thing to themselves all the time. Fix yourself, fix your life, get yourself straight with yourself, and you won't attract broken people anymore. Broken attracts broken, and then broken tries to fix the broken so that the attention is off their own brokenness. Follow? So it's like, I'm broken, let me hang out with another broken person and put all of my attention on their brokenness so I don't have to look at my own. Incredibly damaging, incredibly dangerous. I've seen many people go through this, and they end up lost in a relationship with the same bullshit happening over and over and over within the relationship. It's very difficult to leave a relationship like that. The other way that this exists too is through jealousy. So you start to lose yourself with somebody. You definitely know you are when you start to feel jealous over like petty shit, like jealous over family members that they're spending too much time with, jealousy with like their friends, just feeling a sense of like not enoughness in the relationship. So that's where you definitely is a way that people lose themselves in relationships. The other way is no boundaries. You lose yourself in the other person when you don't have boundaries. You don't know where they begin and you end. It's like you're sharing a brain, and you don't have your own sense of self anymore. This is incredibly codependent. Lack of boundaries is something super common to codependents. They don't know how they feel about certain things. They don't take the time to do the inner work, the inner search for, how do I feel about this? They don't even know how to name their feelings sometimes. They're just like going along with whatever because they would rather do that than be alone. And that's when you lose yourself in a relationship. In addition to boundaries, the fourth thing is they give, and then give some more as a way to prove value and worthiness in the relationship. So the more you give, the more you lose your own sense of self, your self-esteem, your self-worth, and the other person becomes a taker. And then you're in a situation where you're giving more and more and more, thinking that if you give more, the other person will somehow magically wake up and say, oh, my person, my partner gives so much that maybe it's time that I give back. And that's not the case. Not the case. What ends up happening is givers like that, givers who give because they want to feel valuable, right? They're giving to feel value. They're not just giving to give because they have it to give. They're giving to feel value. They're giving for a reward, a win. So they're just as much at fault as the taker. Because if you're giving from a place of, I want this from you, then it's not really a genuine give. It's a give for the get. So that is a definite way that people lose themselves in the person that they're with. It's the give, but not because, hey, I have it and I want to give to you and I give to myself first and, you know, my cuppeth runneth over and I share with you. No, it's I feel depleted, so I'm going to give to you from my emptiness. Hopefully you'll wake up and give to me back. Does not work that way. Fill yourself up, get yourself healthy and whole, and then you can come to a healthy, happy, whole relationship with a happy, whole person, and then you give to each other. So the fifth way that people lose themselves in relationships is that they self-abandon. So self-abandonment is huge in relationships. It's probably like the number one reason why people like get all wrapped up in somebody else and they lose their identity. So when we self-abandon, we are basically not answering to what we need. We're putting our feelings, our emotions on the back burner to then show up for somebody else. We're basically abandoning ourselves to show up for somebody else, which is impossible, because if you can't love yourself first and give to yourself first and then bring that person to the other person, you're basically bringing two halves to try to create a whole, and it does not work that way. So self-abandonment is simply not speaking up for yourself. If you feel something is off and you just go along and acquiesce to the other person and you abandon your own truth and your own feelings, that's self-abandonment. Another thing is making excuses for the other person. So this is very, very common, where somebody will make a joke, right? Like a person that you're with will make a joke, your partner will make a joke, and other people around you think that it's kind of off color, or it's out of line, or maybe using you as like the butt of the joke, or throwing a dig. Something happens in that regard where other people notice, and when they confront you about it and they're like, you know, that was kind of mean, like he was like, it was kind of a joke, but I think it was a little mean, and then you say, oh, that's just the way he is, he didn't mean anything by it, he's just like, you know, he has his way of being funny. And you're like shaking stuff off, but deep down it's not right and you know it, but you make excuses. That's a form of self-abandonment. It's taking on the digs, the criticisms, the abusive language, taking on like just the meanness, the short-temperedness, the anger even, and making excuses for it. So whenever you're doing that, guaranteed you will lose yourself in that relationship. So those are 5 major ways that people lose themselves in relationship. I see this all the time in my coaching practice, and basically what happens is people have to hit a low in their relationships, and then that's when they're ready to make a significant change. That's when they're ready to seek somebody out like me, who can say to them, okay, you had this pattern happen in your life, like you show up in relationships in this way and you end up losing yourself in the relationship. So let's dig into why that is, and that's the work that I do. It's very, very common. It's like we've all been there. The key is learning from it and then not doing that again, and understanding that you are a separate entity. You are yourself, you are you got you better than anyone could or should. Your self-love, your self-care is number one. That connection to source energy, the thing that's higher, that's guiding all of us, number one thing. And then after that, from that, then you invite in that other person. This way you can maintain your own identity while you are giving of yourself, meaning showing up, not at the expense of yourself, but you're bringing yourself, your whole complete self, to another person in a relationship. And you're entitled to your own point of view. You're entitled to have disagreements. You're entitled to even have your own view of the world. It's totally fine, as long as you're being respectful to one another and you're able to, exchange ideas in a respectful way, then that's totally cool, and you could actually grow from that. And the other person can be very supportive, and you can be supportive of them. So we definitely want to make it clear that healthy relationship is person here, and together they work towards a common goal and a common relationship that they both are agreeing on, right? However, where people get confused is when you have person here, and they become this, where they are enmeshed, where one cannot have a brain thought without the other one. Oh, do you want to do this? Let me check with my husband. Let me check with my boyfriend. Let me check. Honey, I'm asking you if you want to go to brunch on Sunday with the girls. Really, you need to check and have permission. And it's just there comes a point in time where you have to have your own identity. Granted, you're going to be respectful. You're not going to just, pick up and leave and do whatever. But at the same time, you have your own friends, you have your own hobbies, you have your own life, you have your own interests, and they do too. And it's healthy to have that. It's healthy to not get completely enmeshed with the person you're with, because the day comes that they're no longer with you, then what happens? Then you're lost. You have nothing. You would not even know what to do with yourself. We see a lot of that with older couples, elderly people who have been together for a really, really long time, and they are so enmeshed with each other that one person dies, the other person dies a week later, and it's sweet, kind of, it's that's how intertwined they were. But when you're younger and you're trying to create something, it's always important to have your own identity, your own point of view on things, your own opinions, your own view of the world, and that together you create something that's unique and special and fun and joyous and harmonious and respectful. So if any of this rings true for you and you're like, oh my God, I totally do that, like my last boyfriend, I totally lost myself in that relationship. My last girlfriend, oh my God, she took me for 25 grand, I just bought her everything. And you see this as a pattern in your life, this needs to get handled immediately. And so I am offering a 90, where we jump on a call via video, total social distancing. We do it via video, it's awesome. And we do a deeper dive to get to the real reason why you show up in relationships that way. If you're finding that you're losing yourself in relationships and you're self-abandoning, we can definitely get together and understand the real reason why that is. And I help people get to that reason super fast so that then we can work on transforming it so that you never do that again in relationships. So again, if you feel like this is something you want to take advantage of, it's a 90-minute one-on-one. You can definitely share the details with you. You can find me at lovequestcoaching.com, or if you're watching me on YouTube, you can go to lovequestcoaching.com, and if you're finding me on Facebook, you can hit me with a DM. You can find me on Instagram at Lisa the Love Coach, and we can always connect. Just Google Lisa Concepcion. You'll find all my social media, and I look forward to connecting with you. Much love. Have a great night. Bye.